It is 5 p.m. and I am calling the Public Safety Committee meeting to order on Monday, February 2nd, 2026. I am Rob Watton, Chair of Public Safety, and joined by Council members Catherine Cotton and Brian Holloway. And with that, our first order of business is to approve the agenda. I do have a motion to amend the agenda and to add before public comment, reading into the record the joint statement issued by the City of North Bend and the City of Snoqualmie on January 27th, 2026 regarding ICE immigration enforcement. Do I have a second? All right, any discussion or any other additions to our? Okay, so the motion is to accept the agenda, first of all, with the amendment that was just proposed. With that, all those in favor of adding the amendment to this agenda?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Councilmember following?
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? Okay, all right. Just want to be sure. And then that brings us back to the main motion as it's been amended to add the joint statement into the agenda. Any further discussion? Any changes? Otherwise, by voice vote, all those in favor of approving the agenda is presented and amended.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you. I'm going to, I should have amended that to come before public comment.
You did.
Oh, I did? Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're not
I
listening.
just,
You did a good job.
I'm not listening to myself.
He's going.
No. Okay. Oh, good.
It's all-
Oh my gosh, yeah, thank you. Okay, so here's the statement that was issued, and just for those that may have missed it, we want to make sure that you're aware that the City of North Bend, the City of Snoqualmie, and the Snoqualmie Police Department that serves both cities are committed to serving and protecting all members of our community, regardless of immigration status. Both Washington law, Keep Washington Working Act, and the Snoqualmie Police Department prohibit our officers from assisting U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, or any other federal law enforcement entity engaged in federal immigration enforcement. Federal immigration enforcement is not the function of local law enforcement, and local officers are prohibited from acting based on a person's immigration status. Officers will not ask about your immigration status during an investigation, whether you are a victim or a suspect. Should anyone in our community observe a situation that creates public safety concerns, please call 911 and report it. The Snoqualmie Police Department will respond to ensure public safety, keeping in mind that ICE's authority arises under federal law. And that was a statement from North Bend Mayor Mary Miller, Snoqualmie Mayor James Mayhew, and Interim Police Chief Gary Hirose. And they remain dedicated, as do both cities, in protecting and serving all members of our diverse communities. So with that, my recommendation, if it's agreeable with this body, is to place this on consent agenda for our next meeting? Or is there some other direction that you want to take?
Is it,
Please, Councilmember Cotton.
is this going to just as information to the council? Or as a point of discussion?
To be acted on in support of the mayor's statement. Okay, yes.
So I got no problem if the mayor wants to make a statement jointly with the mayor of North Bend. And put that up in, the front section of the agenda. Council has nothing to say about that.
Okay.
We may have something to say about it. After the fact, if you were to say you don't like frogs, we might come out and say, we like frogs, so let's not do that. But If the mayors wish to make a joint statement and have it as the presentation proclamation portion of the agenda, do it. We don't, no discussion needs to be had. If you're asking for approval endorsement from the council, that should be an agenda bill or something or other in which the discussion is couched around. So as far as making the statement at the beginning of the agenda, go for it. I don't think you need us to say yay or nay.
Mr. Thrall?
I was just going to clarify that you want me to include the statement in the packet, in the council packet.
That would probably be an F&A action, not necessarily public safety, but go ahead.
Mayor? please.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure what you all are discussing. I have no intention of, or let me, that's not what I want to say. I'm not planning on reading that statement at the council meeting. If you are asking me to do that, I guess, I'm not sure what you're asking. So we issued that as a press release.
Right.
And we put it on the police website, and I want to make clear, I don't know why, but North Bend did issue a slightly different version than we issued. You actually read the North Bend version, but it's substantively the same. I don't know why they changed it. But it is a statement from our police chief, who is the police chief of both cities, as well as the two mayors. We've issued that and I was not planning to take that statement up further with the council unless you're asking me to do that. We are working on there were a set of comments that were made at your last council meeting by various members of the public. We've gone back to the transcript and captured all of the requests that were made. And we're now going through a process of looking at the different requests, which of those can be made. And we're planning to come back to you, since those requests were made to you as the council, I guess to all of us as the city.
Yes.
But to come back to you with a summary of what was asked and sort of recommendations from staff as in terms of how to respond to that. But we're still working on that. We don't have that ready for you yet. Some of what they asked for has fairly complex legal implications behind it. So it's something we want to be very thoughtful and work through carefully in coming back to you. But expect that in the near future, but not planning to come to you this cycle with that. We just haven't had time to get through it. But we are working on it. But in terms of the statement that you just read, I wasn't planning to do anything further. So if you're asking me to do something, I'm just not clear on what you're asking.
And really, it's more of a discussion of the three of us in an open public meeting. Yeah, Councilmember Cotton.
I just do want to follow up. I'm hoping that will be in the not too distant future, that we'll be getting additional information on that so that we can make sure that the correct information, or not correct, but that the most informative items that we can present to our community, have to do with while we say that, like the police aren't going to interfere with federal agents, they're also not going to do anything to help the citizens. I mean, they're just basically going to step back and, make sure that nobody gets hopefully hurt in any situation. So there's things that I think that the community needs to realize, that the police do have their hands tied to a certain extent of what they can do. They can't, the city has their hands tied in that we can't offer sanctuary unless we can.
You may
So
want to take this discussion into executive session. You're talking about legal advice to the council, which generally would not be discussed in open session.
That's a good point, Mayor. I think.
Well, excuse me, if
Yeah.
I just may continue. I just want to make sure that we're going to be able to follow up with points addressing these kinds of issues, because these are the questions that our citizens have. And so we need to be able to, address those those questions with as much information as we can provide them. So I hope we'll be getting more information in the near future.
I think, please, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think what you're getting to is that there were a couple points that we want to make sure that we address, and we can only do that in open session in certain things. Other things that are legal that I understand we need to do in closed door session. But the point is also that a couple of the other councils, Sammamish and I believe Bellevue, have already addressed this, possibly Issaquah. So but it's been addressed at the council level, and albeit their systems are slightly different than ours, I think what we're trying to do is first of all is reaffirm the position that has been stated by the mayors, maybe going a little farther, because there were questions around, for instance, flock cameras, which we've taken up under this committee before, and by the chair, because of concerns of all that. Yes.
I'm sorry, we've kind of gone past what we amended the
Okay.
agenda to do, and we're kind of
Okay.
right now in danger land.
Well, and the underlying question is, what was the agenda amended to do?
Statement.
Read the statement.
All right, we're done.
Yes. Okay. So noted. Thank you. And it may be something that we come back to, and yes.
Sorry, just to close this out, I just want to be clear that my non-response to your discussion is solely because I don't have the answers back from the legal department. The point you raise are terribly important. We know you took them very seriously. I most certainly took them very seriously. This is being worked on. We will be coming back to you in the near future, but we're going to go through, process so we have answers for you with the legal backup and what we can and can't do. And we are of the assumption that you very much want to lean into responding to what was brought up by the community. So we're absolutely working at that.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Okay, with
Appreciate it.
that, we will move on to public comments. Seeing that there's no one present, we'll dispense with public comments. And if you're listening, you can always send your public comments into the city clerk or to any member of the council, the public safety chair, or to the mayor, and we will take those under consideration. So with that, we'll move on. I'll close public comments. We'll move on to the minutes. The approval of the minutes dated January 20th, 2026. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any additions, corrections to the minutes? Being none, we will accept the minutes as presented. Now we get to move on to presentations. School zone safety cameras. Interim Chief Horace. Thank you.
Mayor Mayhew, council members, Interim Chief Gary Horace. The public has shared concerns about speeding in several areas within the city. The school zones around Mount Si High School on Meadowbrook Way and Park Street, and Snoqualmie Parkway near Swenson Drive at Timber Ridge Elementary are some of those. With regard to our partnership with Issaquah Court, I contacted Vera Mobility to look into additional options. Alexandra Yacob is with us this evening to present results from a speed study that we conducted. I will pass it over to her to do that.
Hi, thank you, Chief. Good afternoon, everyone. As the Chief mentioned, my name is Alexandra Jacob. I represent Vera Mobility. And at the city's request, we did conduct speed surveys over 3 full days. And what I'm showing on the screen are the total speed surveys that we've seen. So basically, these are vehicle speeds, and the speed surveys were conducted by putting pucks on the road. So can everybody see my screen? Chief, can you confirm that? Can you see my screen? Okay, perfect. All right, so these are the speed surveys. These are the total numbers over the 3 days for the surveys that we've conducted. Furthermore, from the speed surveys, we've worked with the chief and have done some predictions of realistic volumes on what would it look like if you were to have automated enforcement at those locations. So the assumptions that are being used here are that only 5% of the speed survey results would actually turn into potential violations captured by the systems that get installed. The reason we do that is because what we're seeing nationwide and in the state of Washington is that from speed surveys where we're getting just speed vehicles in an unmonitored location, from that point to installing a program, conducting a public awareness campaign, doing a warning period in the first 12 months, those numbers decreased by 95%. So the intent here was to give a prediction of stable volumes right while after the program has been in place for quite some time. So these would be the expected numbers of events that are captured by the camera. And in this column here, we have citations issued per month. And then we did a further analysis to kind of give an understanding of cases that would be contested in court. So people that want to have a hearing and explain their case or plead their case in court. And as I mentioned, these are the assumptions that we've used for the surveys. And for the contested cases in court, we've used about a 10% of total citations issued. And with that, I can open it up for questions in regard to the speed surveys that we've conducted.
Council members, any questions?
I'd sure like to get a copy of that information.
Okay. Councilmember Cotton, I'm sure that's available, right, Chief?
I'll send it to you right now.
Okay. Kind of curious about the 93 miles per hour. I know some people are driving fast. I didn't realize they were doing how do you capture that? Is that just,
So there's tubes that are being put on the road that measure the vehicle speed that pass over the tubes. And that was the highest speed that was recorded at that location. And the other one is the 86 miles per hour.
wow, that's impressive. That was not me, by the way. Councilmember Holloway.
Just for clarification on, when you say 5% of surveys, that's 5% of cars that had passed that point?
So the 5% of the total volumes of vehicles that were observed driving in excess of 10 miles over the posted speed limit at each one of those locations. So we're assuming that significant decline from right now, what the current driving behavior is at those locations, and about 12 months into the program to kind of show more stable volumes and program sustainability. That's why only 5%. So there's a significant reduction that happens from what is currently observed today on the road about 12 months into the program. Does that answer your question?
No, so you're telling me that 5% of the traffic that goes through is speeding?
No, so so the traffic that was speeding observed during the speed surveys are these numbers here. But those numbers greatly get reduced once there's a program, once there's awareness that a program will start. Then there is a public campaign conducted notifying the citizens of the locations where enforcement is going to start. Then there's a 30-day warning period when the cameras are turned on, when we only send out warning letters to violators, letting them know that a program is starting. And then about 12 months into the program, there's still a decline of the speeding volumes at those locations.
Mayor Mayhew.
Yeah, so I have to apologize. This presentation's a little disjointed and it's my fault. We, as we prepared for this, we're about to go in a few minutes, once we get past this, into a presentation of potential solutions. What I realized late is that in our preparations to tell you about possible solutions, we had neglected to tell you about the problem. And so we very late in the process, decided to try and give you this information, which we have, which is why we went to looking for solutions, because we thought you might like to know how many violations are occurring and what kind of speeds. As you saw, my goodness, someone drove past our high school at 93 miles an hour. So we thought that you might like to see some of this information. So this is a little bit of a distrend because we threw it in the last minute. But what we're trying to tell you is that first column was the number of, so maybe
I,
if you could just go back over those, just the first two columns, and what these are trying to communicate to you is the survey that we did and how many violations we saw, so that you could get an appreciation of the level of problem we're seeing.
And I think you didn't mean the high school on the parkways where
I'm sorry,
these are.
excuse me. I meant the parkway.
The speed limit is much lower around the high school, so we probably can assume that it's not happening there, but I think we've all seen what's happening on the parkway anyway. What a question?
But this is the parkway right by Timber Ridge, so as you
Right.
know, it's right on the street there.
Okay,
Yeah.
So it's by a school is the point, right? And this is only a 3-day period.
correct.
The traffic counts that we see are for a 3-day period, or is it for the average of the month?
Mayor, council members, if I may, maybe I can help clarify some of this information. So we did a 3-day survey. The total traffic counts, and I have those as well. So total traffic counts, and maybe I can bring this over to the screen because this was the summary of the speed survey. So this is the total traffic observed traveling through those locations over the 3-day survey. So this is the number of vehicles that traveled through that location. This is the number of vehicles that were traveling in excess of the speed limit at those locations. And this is the translation of these potential violations into volumes in relation to the total traffic. Does that maybe help a little bit clarify?
Thank you.
Can we get that too?
Councilmember Cotton.
Can we get that too?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to know, I understand that, how they track that with the, the monitor
Buxton, yeah.
roadway. But is there anything that has been done was any of this in conjunction with the police department as far as any stats? Because I know you guys, especially down on Park Street and around the schools, our police department has been very vigilant out there, tracking and also writing citations. And we also have, down by Cascade Elementary, have had the speed monitor there for quite some time. So is this all strictly from their study, or is there anything from the officers' input into that as well?
So this study is strictly from them, from Vera Mobility. To answer your question, yes, I do have some numbers for you from what we've done. And keep in mind that the officers are responding to calls for service and don't dedicate their entire shift to running traffic, and they're doing other jobs throughout both cities. So I will start with the intersection of Snoqualmie Parkway and Swenson. We issued 56 traffic infractions during 2025. And all these numbers are for 2025 specifically. There were 4 motor vehicle accidents there. On Meadowbrook and Southeast Parkway, and this is at the intersection, we had 9 infractions and 2 accidents. Overall, on Meadowbrook Way, we had 47 infractions, 17 accidents, and 150 traffic stops. Out of the 150 traffic stops, there were warnings issued and things like that. Snoqualmie Parkway, we had 238 infractions, 38 collisions, 723 traffic stops. And then and I just ran a number on Mill Pond, and I'll tell you why.
You mean the Fast and Furious out there?
We had 6 infractions, 7 accidents, 22 traffic stops. And in January, we had an 82 and a 40 speeding there. And it was a high schooler going to school. So all of those numbers, and if you look at the number of infractions we've issued compared to the number of traffic stops that we've had, along with doing the regular job, we're still only putting a small dent into the numbers that they pulled off of the speed study. But it's about a third of what we're issuing citations on. And then the other 2/3 is warnings and just trying to correct behavior.
Great. Thank you.
Other questions? Council, administration? Okay,
So based on the number of violations from the speed study, I asked for solutions. So I asked for a presentation on the products they offer, and already established with the Issaquah Court, who we contract with.
Who they?
Vero Mobility, sorry.
Fair Mobility is in the business of traffic cameras.
Yes.
Right now,
And
I
they-
understand
okay,
bias
sorry.
information. Go on.
Sorry. So I asked them to provide information to us and to you on what products they have, how we can help curb some of our safety concerns, and keeping in mind that they also work with Issaquah Court already, and it's an easier integration system. So I will let Alex continue with her PowerPoint here.
Thank you, Chief. So what I'd like to cover, and hopefully also answer any questions that you have, is who we are, to clarify that, our speed enforcement solutions that we can offer, and then the end-to-end program services that we can offer, and very briefly what implementation would look like for an automated enforcement program. I have Q&A at the end of the presentation, but please feel free to stop me at any point and ask questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. So who we are, Vero Mobility has been doing automated enforcement for over 3 decades. We're partnered with about 300 customers across North America, Europe, Asia, and Australia. We are the #1 provider for road safety solutions, and we have over 12,000 systems deployed in various states and countries, enforcing different types of solutions to help improve public safety. So we have speed safety solutions, red light safety, school safety, bus lane, and also school bus solutions. As far as our presence in Washington, we are partnered with nearly 30 municipalities, and we've been in the state for over 2 decades. What you see here is the list of partnerships that we currently have within the state. And then the symbols are the types of programs that we have with each one of those jurisdictions. As far as speed enforcement, we offer multiple solutions. So we have a fixed speed solution along with 2 options for mobile speed enforcement. I do understand that Snoqualmie is looking for a fixed speed solution. So with the next couple of slides, I'll focus more on that solution, but the other 2 also exist as options. So a little bit about the hardware that would be installed. So this is our fixed system. It gets installed on a pole. Everything is contained within one enclosure. At the top here, we have our cameras. We have cameras that take the still pictures and a video camera that takes a 12-second video of each potential violation that's captured by the system. Then in the middle here, we have the 3D HD radar that can track 100+ vehicles at the same time, so multiple targets simultaneously. The system can cover up to 6 lanes of traffic in the same direction. And then on the bottom here, we have the LED flash. The fixed solution does require power, so we would have a power connection. And then on the bottom here, there's a cabinet where the computer system is contained. Do you have any questions on the solution? All
Okay.
right.
First, and that is, does the city of Snoqualmie have total control over the information gathered through the cameras?
Absolutely. All the
And-
data belongs to the city,
Okay.
sorry.
We have control over it. The next question is going to be, do other outside agencies have access to that information? Mayor?
Alex, do you have some more slides for us?
Yes, but I can answer if you'd like me to answer those questions now, I can
Yes.
answer them now, or we can move forward.
I think you'll like the question and the answer to it better. I asked the
Okay.
same question
Okay.
after the other slides.
Very
So,
well.
Yeah, I think
We'll
she wasn't
pause
clear
that.
that there were more slides. So
Okay, thank
if you could hold that, I think
Okay.
you'll feel better, or the answer will make more sense to you after more slides.
So what the system captures a series of images. So once the vehicle enters the detection zone, the images are being triggered. So the first image shows the vehicle driving in excess of the speed limit and the threshold set for potential violations. The second image shows the distance and time that the vehicle has traveled, so vehicle progression through the detection zone. And then there's also a third image that's a crop of the back of the vehicle that shows the vehicle's license plate. That image is used to obtain registered owner and vehicle information. For every potential violation, there's also a 12-second video that's recorded showing the vehicle passing by the enforcement system. So visual observation of the vehicle speed can also be done as well. Each one of these images has an encrypted data bar that can be customized with information on the location of enforcement, date and time, speed limit in that specific zone, the vehicle speed. So any type of information that you'd like to see on the data bar, it can be customized, but that information is encrypted at the time the picture is taken and it cannot be modified. So when we talk about automated enforcement, we're not really just talking about hardware to be installed roadside. What Vera Mobility is proposing is an end-to-end solution where we procure and install the equipment. We provide maintenance of the equipment for the life of the contract, program management, where the city has a dedicated person that they can contact in regard to anything related to the program. We provide training in the beginning of the program and for the life of the program. We do event processing, meaning all the evidence that comes from the camera is pre-processed by Vera Mobility, looking at the images and the video to establish if a violation has occurred based on the violation criteria that the city establishes. We also obtain the vehicle information and the registered owner information. We do the printing and mailing of the citations. The back office platform is programmed for the reporting for your program. We partner with you to conduct a public awareness campaign in the beginning of the program. And again, for the life of the program, we offer call center services and court integration. Like the chief mentioned, we're already integrated with Issaquah for their program. So the integration would be pretty simple and mimicking what they're already doing. So as far as the back office platform, so this is the platform that law enforcement would access to review the cases, that the evidence that has been captured by the camera. So this is a proprietary web-based platform, and only authorized users have access to the platform. So the city would tell us who they want to authorize to have access here, and only that personnel would be able to access the platform. This is a secure login with multi-authentication factors included within the platform. So this platform is used for the event processing on the Vera side to do the owner registration lookup. This is also used for law enforcement review to generate evidence packages for the cases that are being contested in court, and then also to pull operational reports for the program. So this is what law enforcement would see when they log into the system to review the evidence that's being presented to them and make a determination if they want to issue a citation or not. So these are the three images that I mentioned earlier. The first image of the vehicle within the detection zone, vehicle progression, and then the crop of the license plate. This is the 12-second video. Both the video and the images can be made full screen and adjusted based on preference. This is the vehicle, the license plate information, and it is compared with the image of the vehicle. This is the vehicle information. And these are the actions that are available for law enforcement when they review each one of these cases. So they can accept the case, they can reject it, they can skip it, or escalate for supervisor review. In addition to the platform that law enforcement uses, we would also customize a citizen website where citizens can go in and see the same evidence that law enforcement looked at. when they decided to issue that specific citation. So the website is called Violation Info. Each citation would have the information on how the website can be accessed. So they would have to put in their citation number and a PIN number that's proprietary and specific just to their case. So when violators log into this platform, they can only see their specific citation. They, like I said, they can view the images, they can download a copy of their notice, they can pay. We can work with the court and add a redirect link to the court's payment portal. And we can also add an FAQ page that's customized for your program. In regard to court support, as I mentioned, through the platform, officers, when they prepare for court, they can generate evidence packages. So all they would have to do is put in that citation number, and all the documentation that's part of their court packet is automatically populated for that specific violation, and then it can be downloaded and used in court. We would train law enforcement for expert witness testimony, and then also work with law enforcement if any cases are being contested in court for technology beyond the training that they have. Vera Mobility would send our expert witness to testify on the equipment. And then I mentioned that data transfer into the court system, so integration with the court system. Reporting, the system already has over 60 standard parameter-driven reports to give a lot of information on the program. In addition to the pre-programmed reports, we also offer our business intelligence module, which is a web platform where you can see additional statistical data for short and long-term analysis of the program, and then additional ad hoc reports as needed. So what implementation would look like? Once we have a contract in place, we would assign a project manager from our side that would oversee the implementation of your program. They would reach out to the city stakeholders and have an initial kickoff meeting, establish roles, and provide an implementation schedule along with a timeline. Once we've done all of that, we start defining your program. 2 separate meetings will be held. One is the business rules meeting, where we have a pretty extensive document that covers everything in regard to how your program is going to work, what type of violations you want to enforce, what speed threshold you want to enforce at, what your citation is going to look like, who's going to take payments, who's going to handle calls from violators. So everything that is the rules that are going to govern your program is going to be established during those meetings. And then a separate meeting is our construction meeting, where our construction team and our engineers would meet with city stakeholders to discuss the physical installation of the hardware. So they would walk the sites, design every one of the locations, submit for permitting, and obtain approval for installation. Then we start building your program. So in parallel, we're going to start roadside construction and then also customize the back office platform in accordance to your business rules. Once we have everything in place, we're going to conduct that public outreach and start that 30-day warning period. During the warning period, we're also going to conduct training. Once all of this is completed, then we can go citation live. The system gathers the evidence, it's uploaded into the back office and sent to law enforcement for determination on what cases should be issued as citations. So that's kind of what I had for the overall end-to-end service. A couple of things that I would like to mention is that starting a program is at no cost to the jurisdiction, so there is no upfront cost. Vera Mobility would bear the cost of everything, like I said, equipment purchase, installation, back office programming, and then we look to recoup our investment throughout the life of the program based on a monthly flat fee per direction of enforcement. And with that, I can open it up to questions.
Councilmember Cotton.
You know me too well. I do have a couple of questions with what information and I may have just missed this during your presentation of facts there, but does Vera Mobility store the data or does the city store the data?
Vera Mobility would store the data. So the data is captured by the system roadside and it is securely uploaded into our back office and it is stored by Vera Mobility, but the city maintains full ownership of the data. So Vera Mobility stores, but the city owns the data. During the implementation, we would also determine data retention rules for your program, right? So for how long should we hold on to the information, right? There are going to be various categories. For example, images that have been captured that don't result in an actual citation. The city would tell us for how long we should keep those images. Then information on citations that have been issued or citations that have been paid. So we determine this data purge schedule and everything is purged out of the system based on that. Any remaining data that is still stored by Vera Mobility at the end of the program is then passed on to the jurisdiction, but it is stored by Vera Mobility. So the city doesn't have to provide storage for all this data.
And is that
Councilman.
included in the flat
Yes,
fee, the monthly flat
correct.
fee?
Yep.
Two more questions if I may.
Please.
You mentioned that Vera Mobility looks up the license plate numbers and ownership and such, is that correct?
Yes.
And then is that information then is passed on to our jurisdiction?
So the information is contained within our system. The information that's obtained is strictly related to the vehicle. So we obtain, based on the license plate read that we do, we have an integration with Washington DMV and also with inlets for out-of-state license plates. So the information that's obtained is strictly on, for that license plate, what vehicle do you show registered? Vehicle, make, and model, and then who is the registered owner of that vehicle. That's the only information that we obtain from DMV on that specific license plate. So there's limited access that Vera Mobility has through that DMV connection. And that's the information that we obtain because that's the only information that we're looking for to be able to send to law enforcement for their determination if they want to issue a citation.
Okay, and one more
One more.
question
Okay.
for Chief. So obviously this still needs officer time and expertise to review the video.
Correct.
And also an officer time and expertise, because I'm assuming the citation will be sent out under an officer's name that reviewed it. And so he will, or she would have to be the officer going to court
If it's contested.
If it is contested,
if
yes.
it's contested, okay. So there's still be, it's not a totally automated system. There's still going to be some police time involved in that as well.
Correct. State law requires that we be the ones that issue because we have to confirm that a violation occurred.
Mhm.
That can't be automated.
Okay.
So we would, each video, and Alex can correct me if I'm wrong, but it takes anywhere from 20 to 30 seconds for us to review
Correct.
videos, collect approval, and then once the officer approves it, it gets sent out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Holloway, do you have any other
Well, he's got his
questions?
hand up.
Okay, Mayor Mayhew, please.
If I could just add, I asked similar questions to Councilmember Cotton, and Alex, correct me if I misstate this, but in terms of the data capture, the picture, the video capture, so that's done on the pole. It goes to the machine that's on the pole. It's encrypted then. What gets transmitted back to them is that encrypted data. Now, as a practical matter, that data is going to take it's probably going to take at least an hour to get to them. So the data, by the time it gets to them, or to put it differently, by the time the data gets off the pole to anyone, it's an hour or more later before that is happening. And there is no feature on this pole in that equipment that allows it to live stream. It just does what was explained to us, which is the taking of the picture and the 12-second video. Then that data is encrypted and that's what's transmitted. and ends up on their servers and then is further processed as Alex described. Alex, did I get that right?
Yes, correct. So all
Cool.
the system does is capture the pictures based on what's established for your violation criteria. So it captures the pictures and that 12-second video only for violating vehicles. So the system will not have streaming video, or it doesn't have any kind of ALPR capabilities. It captures the pictures, and then the pictures and the video are encrypted and uploaded into the back office, like the mayor mentioned.
So I found that sort of useful in terms of understanding the sequencing and the times involved and what data we're talking about. So hopefully that was useful to you as well.
Okay. Any other questions from the council members? Councilmember Holloway.
So if you get subpoenaed, if I put my tin hat on, you get subpoenaed, there are restrictions to subpoena which states you cannot admit that you have been subpoenaed. Okay, while they say this is Snoqualmie data, it is on their servers. It is their data that they are processing. With my tin hat, they could be subpoenaed, we never know. Guys, in the current environment, I'm not looking to put cameras on streets. Okay, just, you saw the people, you saw the statement we just made earlier in this meeting. This is a rough environment for this activity to occur in. Okay, my other concern is, I guess two, based on the data we saw prior. One, the data is slightly skewed, but two, if the volume is anywhere close to that, you don't have manpower to support it. That many tickets coming in that you've got to review. We're going to take an officer off the street and he's going to be staring at this tube all day long. Okay. So I think there's some discussion on criteria of what's an acceptable volume to ingest that we'll have to look at if we go down this path. And I'm further concerned, it's even stated, there's diminishing returns. As people become aware of these cameras, their behavior change, you will get less and less infractions. The financials here I'm worried about. What's going to be the long-term cost of this? How are we going to offset that cost? And if somebody tells me it's a revenue stream, I'm going to lock up hard. Because if we're looking for revenue by tickets, let's start planting trees in front of speed signs and stop signs. Okay, so this is not a revenue stream. This is potentially to address an issue, but I have a hard time solution versus focused enforcement, or even just parking a police car out there every now and then so you start to make the behavior. I'm really concerned that we've jumped way out when there are other options in between. And maybe I've just missed the story being the new guy on the committee here, but I'm having a hard time in this current environment having the discussion. People are gonna, right or wrong, will go to bad conclusions.
Okay. All right. We only have a few minutes left. I'm going to raise a couple things that are going to be things that I need a lot more information around, and it goes to Councilmember Holloway's comments as well. The revenue model we need to take a look at. I think given, your perspective, there are ways that we can, the tolerance we can change, and that would help lessen it. But I think we need to dive a little deeper, and this is your area of expertise, and that's what happens to the data, the current national feelings right now. And I did, while we're doing this, I went through and had some AI assistance, and both systems, Flock and this one, both depend on automated license plate recognition. The big question, though, is the two systems are far apart in how they use and share the information. However, I need to be a little more assured of exactly what Councilmember Holloway said, and that's the privacy to it is, how much control do we have? And some of it we may not have any control over. And that's probably the bigger thing is how that information may be subpoenaed. And, and it is in part the agreement that we come to with any organization providing cameras, that we need to make sure the rails, the safety guards, the rails are put in to make sure that it's doing what we say it's going to do. And I think, those are legitimate concerns. And what I would like to do is come back and discuss this further and have deeper discussions. I think it's merited. I think it's incredibly concerning, the number of speed violations. We heard it from a small number of residents, and then it's, oh my gosh, it's going on a lot more. That I hear it at night in my bed. It's like, I should be calling somebody because it's happening. So I guess with that, we're down to 5:50 PM. Mayor, do you have some comments?
Well, I just want to say quickly, as the Councilmember Holloway and Councilmember Watton, that the comments you were just focusing on, in my mind, focus on two different points. If I could just talk about the one of those 2 points, which has to do with revenue stream or what it would cost us. Chief, did you want to say anything on that tonight, or just we'll bring that back? We've talked about a launching into this with a model in which so first off, let me back up. I think Alex mentioned that typically when they roll these out, there's an initial month period where we don't issue tickets at all. And what we do issue is notices. It's sort of an education period. What we've talked about is limiting the amount of violations that we issue so we control the capacity. So that this, and this most certainly, the concept here is let's roll this out in a way that it covers our costs, including the cost of our officers' time, so it doesn't cost us anything. And the goal is to stop the speeding in school zones, not to generate revenue. The goal is to cover the cost of making a big impact. And so the number of violations we have to issue, and we can go over this at your next meeting if you like, but the number of violations that we need to issue is fairly small, and we cover our costs. In comparison to the number of violations, it's a small percentage. So we can go over the numbers with you and explain that. And we feel that we can do that within the staffing that we have comfortably. Then we see how that goes. There's a period where it falls off, the speeding falls off, and then actually it goes back up, but it doesn't go to zero. So we can kind of go through some of those numbers with you. So on that part of your comment, and then of course the other comment about FISA warrants, things like that, that's one of the reasons that I mentioned just the physical amount of time it takes and the type of capability these cameras have. They just can't be used physically to monitor on any time of real-time basis. System doesn't work that way. So, but doesn't fully answer the points that you raised, but I just want to reemphasize that that is something to consider as you think this through.
Thank you. Councilmember Cotton, and then we'll wrap up. And if there's no objection, we've got two discussion items: crisis intervention training for officers in the fourth quarter accreditation report. I'd like to move to our next agenda. Councilmember Cotton.
I'm going to steal Councilmember Holloway's phrase and ask for a homework assignment as far as if with the next presentation, can we also include other potential traffic calming measures? The kind of things leading up to a camera as well, from like down on Park Street where we have this little speed trailer thing to, I know Parks and Public Works has talked about some of the things that they can do on the roadway itself, as far as that, kind of encourages people to slow down their speed. So if we could include some other potential options as well.
Okay.
I would appreciate that.
And with that,
Chair, if we could.
And then yes.
Coming back to your next meeting, with your permission, we'll bring answers to your homework questions, and we'll bring a potential ordinance that you could actually look at to see, well, what would this look like and how would we roll this out? So with your permission, we'll bring those obviously you don't have to advance that, but we'll bring those to you for your next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Alex Ikop, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you. You've provided some great information and things for us to think about. If there is no objection, I will call for our adjournment at 5:54 PM.
Thank you.
So moved.
All right, so we stand adjourned at 5:54 PM. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Alex.